Okay. I just got a
Well,
notice.
all right. Well, hello, Dream Chasers. I'm so excited about today and the amazing conversation that we're going to have. As you, each and every day, you use different types of products. You use different types of things in your cabinets, in your bathroom. But have you ever asked yourself, where do these products come from? Who is behind the brand that's making sure that things are being sourced equitably and with integrity? And so I'm really excited to sit down today with a special lady, Emilie Bell from DoTerra, who is the strategic sourcing manager. And she has a wealth of knowledge and a background that's very colorful that has equipped her to be in this space. And you know what? I could read her bio, but I think as we have a discussion and have a conversation, you're going to learn more and more about her and how she is doing some strategic work to help this world be better, to make this world be more equitable, and that we have a just society. So without further ado, can you guys help me welcome Emilie Bell? Welcome,
Hello.
Emilie.
Hello, thanks for having me, Jennifer. Nice to meet you and see you.
Same here, same here. And for those who don't know, DoTerra is a proud sponsor of the Dream ChaseHer Conference. And we want to thank you all for your support and making sure that we're able to create a space for women and entrepreneurs and women that are just going after their dreams and being supported in that way. So thank you guys. I'm really excited about just digging into this conversation because I have a feeling like I'm going to walk away more knowledgeable about some things. And then I'm going to be able to have a conversation with people and then maybe, encourage them in some type of way. So let's dig on in. So Emilie, tell me, what is your role at DoTerra?
Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you for having me. My role at DoTerra, I'm part of what we call the global sourcing team. So our team is basically spread all around the world, which is quite unique in the industry, actually. And so that allows us to work with the people that are actually producing the essential oils that we are bringing to our customers, to our DoTerra customers. So I'm actually based in Australia. In Perth on the west coast of Australia. And so from here, I basically oversee the sourcing and work with all our partners on the ground who produce the oils from numerous countries in the region, from New Zealand to Vietnam and Indonesia, China, Japan, and a few others.
Okay, awesome. Man, you have such a worldwide reach in your role. And it's so great that you get to, experience different cultures, different languages, different experiences. How has just that been on a personal level?
It is so enriching and, so rewarding because you're working with so many people on a daily basis, as you said, from different cultures. I have two colleagues actually who are based, one in China and one in Japan. So that help, on the daily communications as well with our partners there, because some countries, with English and all of that might not be as easy than others. So we all work very closely, but it's fascinating because, every country is different, every oil resource is different. The needs of the communities we work with in different countries, are different. So being here on the ground and spending time, with all of those partners and farmers and communities, actually, we can listen to them and ask them what their needs are and see how, as part of our sourcing effort, we can then help them, on the ground, whether it's something to do on the environmental side or whether it's got something to do with social impact. So that's the beauty of this job, is that we're not just, purchasing oils and making sure they get, the right volumes and everything get there. It's about really working with the people as part of the supply chain. So I learn things every day. It's amazing.
That's great. That's great. Learning things every day. And that's amazing. So question, how has DoTerra supported your career?
So I've got an interesting background. I'm actually French originally, but I moved to Asia. I moved to Hong Kong when I was 17, following, my parents there. And so I worked there in Hong Kong, studied there and worked there. And I was started on the customer service side. And I was also then in sales and marketing, in the region. And then met my husband in Hong Kong, who's from Australia, which is why, I'm here now. And it's been great in terms of career because I've been able with doTERRA to just, work with different countries, work with different culture, work with different products, and learn a lot about all the work we can do in terms of charities and all of that, but also the science behind the oils and all the components of the supply chains, from quality control to auditing to shipping to the range is wide. So it's been very fulfilling just to touch on lots of different things at different times.
That's amazing. Awesome. Now, why is sourcing so important to business?
Well, for us, particularly at doTERRA, our products, we wake up every morning and go to work with the mission that we want to source the best and help the most. So for us, the quality of our products, so the essential oils, they have to be pure, they have to be natural. And, because in aromatherapy, we use pure oils, and it's not like a big mix of a little bit of oils with some other components, or like a perfume bottle, for instance. We need to source large volumes as well. So that's why it's very important to know your supply chain, and for us to be at source, so meaning working with the people that actually, growing the crops and harvesting it and then distilling the oil, so that we can ensure the quality of the products, but also, make sure that the supply chains are set up in an ethical and sustainable way as well. So, on the ethics side, everything to do with fair labor and all these kind of things, sustainability as well. When we talk about different crops, we want to make sure that we're doing so in a way that we're replanting and we are harvesting and things regrow and everything. So it's very important to know very well your supply chain, so that you can verify the quality, you can verify the origin, the people, the process, so you can make sure that they follow the ethics and the values that that you have, and so that you can pass that on to your customers for sure.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned something in terms of sourcing and making sure it's pure and it's not mixed with perfume. So as a consumer, when we are looking at essential oils to purchase, is there something on the back of the label that we should be looking for? Any kind of indicators to help us to know, like, if this is a good product, this is a high quality produced product?
The labels will give you the definitions of the actual components. And, when you look at a doTERRA essential oil bottle, that it's going to be a pure oil product. So there's no adulteration or there's no contamination. We go through very, very thorough testing processes as well to ensure that. You've got to make sure that you stick also with companies as a consumer that have the right ethics and have the right values and are transparent about their supply chain, so that they can show you and prove to you the origin of the product, so that exactly that it's the right thing, that is right. Actually written on the label for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Now, staying in that same sourcing realm, what impact does sourcing have on a company?
So we abide by strict what we call our sourcing principles, our sourcing guidelines. So we really select areas in the world or partners and distillers and all of that, where we can make sure they will benefit as well from working with us and doing these jobs. So it's all about, there's the quality as well, of course, but it's about, making sure that they also benefit. So when we are talking with a farming community, you know, it's not up to us to go to them and say, we think you need that. That is not our job. Our job is actually to ask them, what do you need and how can we make, you know, your life better? How can we make, you know, an impact in your community? So it's about, you know, creating jobs. It's about, you know, making sure that we proceed with fair and on-time payments, and that we help build you know, the suppliers' capacity. So for instance, you know, to help them develop better or bigger distillation facilities, for instance, or, you know, more crops or diversify crops, or get the farmers to work together in cooperatives, because then they can learn a lot from each other, and you know, they can train each other. So there's lots of different elements that, you know, we want to follow to make sure that, you know, this is followed and helpful to them.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you so much. Wow. I'm learning so much on this interview. I appreciate the wealth of knowledge that you're bringing. Now, can you speak specifically to what makes sourcing at doTERRA different from other companies? I think you might have touched on it a little bit, but are there any like very specific things that separate how you all source versus others?
Well, you know, for working at source with the producers, it's the key in terms of quality, in terms of ethics, in terms of sustainability, so that, you know, you can check that. So actually, been in the essential oil industry for a few years, and I think doTERRA has a unique system where we have this global sourcing team that is really spread around the world, with sourcing managers like myself actually living and on the ground where, you know, the productions are actually happening. So that allows us to, you know, do our due diligence, to conduct some audits, you know, to work on a daily basis with everybody on the ground to help them improve whatever needs to be improved, or to work with them in developing projects. So, you know, doTERRA has a foundation, the Healing Hands Foundation. So, you know, through the foundation, we try to implement a lot of social impact projects in those sourcing locations. So unless, you know, you are on the ground and doing that, it's very hard to actually understand it all and verify it all, and then develop projects and implement them. So I think that is something that is very unique to doTERRA on the sourcing side. And look, I can't talk for other companies, obviously, but if there is one thing, you know, that we guarantee is the purity and the naturalness of the oils, which, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there, for sure. And, you know, with some companies maybe not having people on the ground working directly at source, they're definitely putting themselves at risk of getting adulterated oils and all of that. And yeah, I did mention about also our testing, you know, processes that are very, very diligent. So yeah, I think that's the key difference. But also working and developing all those social impact projects, you know, is something that doTERRA is very keen to do and very strong at doing. So we really want to make a difference and make an impact.
Awesome. That's so good to hear. Now, you mentioned a lot of different countries because of the worldwide network that the sourcing department has to operate within. Has there been a memorable trip for you?
There's been so many. Yeah, there's been so many. You know, every time I travel somewhere, I meet, you know, different people, and I also reconnect with people I've met before. And, you know, it's always wonderful to go and to see, you know, how the lives of the people producing those oils have improved thanks to the projects we worked on together. You know, in New Zealand, I can give you an example where, for instance, we Manuka is an oil that we source from New Zealand, and it's quite unique to a specific region there, and it was wild crafted before. And in terms of sustainability and quality, you know, we worked with our partner on the ground to actually develop plantations so that, there would be sustainability, would be, the quality will remain, but also that helped a lot of, it's in an area where the land is mainly owned by Maori communities. And, the land gets passed on from generations to generations. And in a lot of cases, so where we set up these 50 hectares of plantation, the land was not used before. So the people that actually own the land, those families, didn't get any income from it or whatsoever. So by us, working there with our partner and setting up those plantations, not only do the owners of the land now get some income from the rent on the land, but we've also helped create some jobs and, teach some skills to the communities there. And, because of all of that, to start working there, we had to be welcomed by the community and learn about their traditions and all of that. So you have community halls, which are just beautifully crafted with all traditional paintings and everything. And so we had to go through this welcome ceremony to be accepted in the community. With everybody there, with some singing and some dancing and some, traditional, songs and everything else. And it was just so powerful. And you felt just so privileged, to be going through this and to be accepted through this community. I just had, tears running down my cheeks and, I was just so grateful and, so felt just so privileged that we could work together and that we could help and as they were helping us as well. So, it's always a win-win on both sides of the bottles, really. So that was very memorable. Cool. That's a very special memory for me. Yeah, for sure.
Heart touching for sure. And again, it proves the point that we are all in this world, but we're still connected. And we still, even though we have different backgrounds, culturally, ethnically, in religion as well, that there's always that common core of humanity. And no matter, what, again, our background is, but there's that humanity part that we can always reach to and connect. So great. Well, I'm happy that you've had that experience. So I just have a few more questions before we wrap up. Can you tell us about an inspiring woman on your team?
Oh my gosh, this is a very tricky question, Jennifer.
I know, right?
So many inspiring women in the DoTerra family. I can't pick one. Everybody's got their special, special. I mean, everybody, I have to say at DoTerra, it's like a big family, right? It's really a big family. Everybody is just so caring, wants to do the right thing. We all, on the same mission to help people and make an impact. And so, when I look around with the job that I do every day, whether it's a DoTerra employee, whether it is a woman that is actually a farmer and producing the oil, or whether it's a wellness advocate that actually teaching someone about the oil so, they can feel better about themselves and all of that. There are just so many of them out there that it's just, I'm just very privileged to work with such a group of women. So I can't pick one. That's too hard of a question. I'd have to go through so many if I can't give you names.
I think that's great, but that also speaks to the point that you are in a working community that is thriving, that is positive, that has women that are encouraging and supporting each other along the way, because we know that when we work together and complement each other in our strengths and weaknesses, then the overall organization gets to thrive. So that just, I think, if anything, it just proves that you're at a great place. So still on the feminist questions for a second, how does DoTerra's sourcing model impact women specifically? Is there a specific way? Do you guys look to, specifically source from farmers that are women or anything like that? Please share.
We do. Actually, at DoTerra, one of our goal as well is to empower women, on either sides of the bottle. And in terms of the farming, and the people, producing the oils, for sure, we have a lot of women in supply chains, and we encourage, more and more women to be part of the supply